so here it is, the Air65 V2, and I can't believe it's been almost 2 years since the original Air65 was released. Now the new version here is released in 3 versions, one as the freestyle version that we have right here, also as a race version, and finally the top of the line version, which is the championship, which is geared more towards hardcore racers. Okay, so before we take a deeper dive into the Air65 V2, let's weigh them to see the difference in weight. All right, let's weigh the Air65 V1. Looks like 17.37 grams. And here's the new one here. It feels a little bit sturdier. And that's 18.17 grams. So it is a little bit heavier. Now this is not necessarily a comparison video between the 2 versions here, but this just gives you a really good reference to see the improvements they made on the later version. Now the first thing that stands out here obviously is the duct, the color, the form factor of it. And it's very similar to the V1, but they've made some significant improvements here to make this even more durable and actually even lighter. Now the first thing here, obviously you can see they've actually removed some material as well as add some materials in certain areas. Now BetaFPV has gotten a lot of feedback from the pilot group indicating where there were some areas of concern, and BetaFPV has addressed them. Now the first thing here obviously is the strength and durability of this frame right here. Now obviously you want to make it light as well. For example, you can see right here on the side, you can see some of these webbings right here. It's a little bit thinner. Now this is not really a structural point, so they can remove some material right here that does save on weight. And if you look really underneath the drone, you can see that most of the webbing have been removed. Before we had 6 webbings for the motors, now we just have 4. That does save on weight, but really doesn't affect the flight characteristics or the actual structure of the drone. Now there are some areas where BetaFPV did add some material, and you can see right here, first of all, in these propeller ducts right here. They're a little bit thicker than the original, and they're also beveled to create even more thrust. So this one has a better power to weight ratio than the original V1. Now if you look underneath, there's also some added material as well. And you can see right here where the motors do bolt up to the frame, there are some additional pieces like legs. And these are actual material here to actually protect the actual screws for the motors. So in case of a crash or a landing, your motor screws aren't going to be damaged. And it also acts like a foot or a landing pad for the drone itself. Now talking about motors, BetaFPV has made some slight changes to their motor selection. They are the same size as the V1, they're still 702. In fact, the entire lineup of the Air65 series, they're still 702 motors. The big difference here is the KV. We're now gone from 23,000 kV to 25,000 kV, giving this even more top-end power. Now if you move over to the race version, KV is now up to 30,000 kV. And if you move up to the top-end champion version, you're up to 36,000 kV with dual ball bearing motors. Now, if you look under the drone, you can see a small difference here with these motors. On the original V1, there weren't any kind of plug-in kind of motors. They were actually soldered to the flight controller board. And in the V2, we do have some plug-in motors here. I suspect this was done for cost savings as well as for repairability during the race. In case you do damage a motor, you can easily just unscrew it and replace the motor pretty easily. Now, I do think that that did increase the weight a little bit, hence the reason why this one weighs a little bit more compared to the one on the V1. But if you do want to have some more weight savings, you can actually step up to the champion version where it's now soldered onto the flight controller, saving you about a gram or so. So I do suspect that they could have made this one a little bit lighter if they wanted to. Now connected to the motors, we have some different propellers on here. They look significantly different than the one the V1s. These are Gemfan 1219S, and they're supposed to give you smooth flight and more thrust in the upper end. So we'll see how that goes. Now controlling this whole thing is the Matrix 1S 5-in-1 flight controller. This thing is pretty impressive. Now the original Air65 debuted with a 4-in-1, and to be honest with you, it was pretty impressive at the time. There was a lot of features packed into this small little drone here. The big difference here is that this one here did have an external Express LRS receiver, hence the reason it's a 4-in-1. And this one here has a 5-in-1 with Express LRS already built into it. Now the big deal here is that this one features a 12 amp ESC, which is pretty much overkill for a drone of this size. If you do remember, most drones of this size feature a 5 amp ESC, so 12 amp is just crazy overkill, but that does increase the durability of the ESCs. Now, besides that, this 501 board features a 400 milliwatt VTX, which I said before is kind of overkill. Typically, all you need is around 25 to around 100 milliwatt of VTX power. These things are very, very small, and I'm sure you're just gonna outrange, well, Express LRS is pretty good as well. So maybe you might just outrange the battery, guys. If you can get to the limits of a 400 milliwatt VTX, there's a good chance you probably can't even get the drone back, but it's cool to see that power output in here. Now on the top, we have the FPV camera. This is the same as the version 1. This is the CO3 camera. It's pretty much the standard in the industry for TinyWhoops. It performs very well. It has a really good algorithm for exposure and for white balance. And it performs very well in dark and bright environments. So really good choice by BetaFPV. There was no reason to actually change this. Now connected to the camera, we do have the canopy, and this is where BetaFPV has made some additional changes. The version 1 was not too bad, but the front mounting point was actually a stress point. Hence the reason why they actually redesigned this canopy as well as the flight controller. Last but not least, we have the Express LRS receiver on here. It's built into the board. It is a serial-based Express LRS, so you can actually flash it independent of the flight controller. We have the external antenna on here. It's, let's see here. It is obviously different than the version 1. This is an early model of the version 1, and this one does feature an external Express LRS receiver on here. So this is pretty nice. It does make it more compact. Now underneath, we still have our same battery tray, which really wasn't a problem. I don't see any significant difference on there besides a reduction of material, another weight-saving measure, which is pretty cool. We have the port here to interact with the flight controller and change the settings on this using the Betaflight software on your computer. That's why we have this adapter right here. Last but not least, we have the BT 2.0 connector. This is BetaFPV's proprietary connector. It is pretty good compared to the PH 2.0. This is the special version with a 180-degree mounting solution, so you don't have to curve or bend the wire. Now, talking about batteries and battery tray on here, BetaFPV does recommend a 280 to 320 milliamp hour 1S battery. Now, in the past, I've used their Lava battery. This is the 300 milliamp hour version. It has really good characteristics, really no sagging, and it does produce the amps and current even down to 3.5. Now, you do have to understand this thing does have a sharp cutoff, so once you get to around 3.5 to 3.4, it does drop off pretty aggressively. Now, having said that, BetaFPV has just released their new version of this battery. This is the Lava Series 2 battery here. Now, this is very similar to the 300 milliamp hour, just more capacity, and it's said to have even better flight characteristics and properties. So I do want to weigh this before I try it out. Obviously, this has more capacity, so it should be heavier. All right, 8.17 grams. And the new version, 8.07. So it's actually lighter, yet there's more capacity and performance. Pretty impressive, BetaFPV. Let's see here. Looking at the actual specs on here, there's more capacity, obviously, but also the C rating is also higher as well. We're going from a 75C battery to a 95C battery. So there's obviously more performance in this battery. Now, BetaFPV says you can get around 5 minutes of flight time with this battery doing some casual flying. So we'll see if that's true or not. I did get similar performance with the 300 milliamp hour with the original Air65. All right, guys, first impression of the Air65 V2 seems pretty good. It looks like some minor changes, but there are significant, guys. This is all to make the drone better and reduce your frustration. I'm eager to fly this. I'm gonna go to the computer, flash my binding phrase in here, change my OSD, and take it for a flight. So let's go. Okay, so we're back from our flight test, and the Air65 V2 did an amazing job, guys. This thing is almost, just almost perfect. Now, this thing picks up where the V1 left off. This thing is a very quiet drone. It has a lot of capabilities. It flies amazingly well, guys, and the V2 is more of the same. Now, it's a little bit deceiving because this drone here is so small and so light. You wouldn't think that this has the capabilities to do pretty much what a tiny drone and what a freestyle drone can do. I said that in my first video. it does behave almost like both drones. The only thing it doesn't have is the flickability, if that's even a word, of the larger 5-inch drone. So if you do an aggressive maneuver, it doesn't continue its momentum when you reduce the power to idle. But it's an amazing drone, and the highlight of this Air65 V2, just like the V1, is its flight characteristics. It doesn't matter what you throw at it, no matter if you're doing a long extended dive or inverted maneuvers, this thing can handle it very, very well. It's kind of mind-blowing what you can do with a drone of this size. Now, the biggest thing with these drones, especially ducted drones, is that once you do a sustained dive, it tends to wash out or move out of place. This thing tracks very, very straight. It's almost telepathic. What you want it to do, it's doing it. There's no erratic movements, no like deviation from where you put it. Even in windy conditions, it just goes straight. Now, having said that, these motors and props complement this whole tune and frame. Never wanted to want any additional power. We do have higher kV motors on here, and it does pick up from where the V1 left. It's very, very peppy, especially in the top end. And this thing here moves really, really fast, especially for its size. So although this is not a racing drone and there's a specific category like the racing or champion version, this is no slouch, guys. So I don't think you'd be disappointed if you want an all-around drone. The freestyle can do both freestyle maneuvers and some quick racing maneuvers as well. It's that agile, and yeah, it's a pretty impressive drone overall. Now, talking about motors and kV on this drone, let's talk about the battery life. And these are the new Lava batteries, the Lava Series 2, and it did an amazing job. Now, I don't remember the flight times on the actual Air65 V1. I think around 3.5 to 4 minutes, but I was averaging around 4 to 4.5 minutes with mixed flying. That's doing crazy maneuvers and then doing some kind of exploration flying. Now, I have to say these are pretty decent batteries, meaning they're new. These were the first flights on these batteries, so the performance is really, really good. I didn't have any kind of sag. These things worked pretty well, and I brought them down to around 3.4 to 3.3 volts coming in for landing, and they recovered to 3.5. So no issues there overall. I think these batteries are pretty impressive. It's amazing to go from the Lava Series 1, which was a really decent performing battery, to even these higher C batteries now up to 95C. Yes, this drone does demand a lot. We do have the 15 amp ESCs, but it's a perfect combination for this drone. I can probably see how it's going to perform even with the champion version. So if you can pick up some of these for your drones, I would highly recommend it. All right, onto the visuals of the Air65 V2. Now, this is the same setup here on the Air65 V1. Now, surprisingly, the camera did perform the same way, which is good. The CO3 camera is pretty good. I like it. It's one of my favorite cameras for TinyWhoops. It's not oversaturated. It doesn't seem like dark. It exposes very well. And the white balance doesn't shift too aggressively. So overall, the camera is good. The issue I had with the visuals was with the actual VTX. Now, I'm not saying that that was an issue per se. It worked okay. Now, I did most of my flights at 25 milliwatts, and then I did go around some areas where there was known interference. Now, on the way there, this thing did break up pretty aggressively, and I thought that was a little bit unusual. Even with this other drone, the V1, and other drones in my fleet, I've gone there at 25 milliwatts, and I'd had some breakup, but not too bad. Now, I did increase the power to around 100 milliwatts and repeat the test, and it still kind of broke up in the same area. Now, that was kind of discouraging. I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's some other interference. There are a lot of homes in the area, and I suspected that could be the problem. So I did change the channel to another channel, and it did the same thing. Now, my final test, I did increase the power to around 200 milliwatts, and it was a little bit better, but it still broke up in the same area. So I don't know if it's my specific VTX or not. That's something to consider. I didn't even bother to go to 400 milliwatts because at that point, it's probably gonna do the same thing. And to have 400 milliwatts is kind of overkill for a park and a drone of this size right here. But overall, I think the setup here is pretty good. I do think my setup here, or my issue, if I'm gonna call it an issue, was specific to my drone specifically, or maybe the environment that I was flying in at the time. So this could vary from place to place and from drone to drone, but in my testing, I did get some higher interference than normal. All right, last but not least, let's talk about the durability and form factor of the Air65 V2. Now, the aesthetic is pretty amazing. When the Air65 V1 launched, it was a game changer, and it's still impressive to this day. No one really knew what BetaFPV did with this drone. This is more of a custom drone. Pretty much people who actually are in the industry, who actually race these drones, they take steps and measures to this level to make it this light, this quick, and this efficient. They do a lot of tuning. They try to save on weight in multiple places. You're talking about a drone that's only 16 grams. So that was kind of unheard of when this drone launched. As far as this drone here, it's more of the same. We talked about it earlier. They've improved in certain areas and then also reduced some weight in others. I did crash this drone multiple times and this thing looks pretty much new. No issue at all. I can see where I also crashed on the ground, and this canopy here did protect the actual camera, so there's no scratches there. There's no broken tabs or pieces on here. This drone overall looks pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. I do think it's gonna be a durable drone for some time to come. I did have some pretty violent crashes doing some repeated maneuvers, and sometimes I thought I would break it. It actually feels a little bit stiffer than the V1 ducts and frames. So I was like, is this thing gonna crack because it's more brittle? But it held up very, very well, guys. So I think the durability on this has been improved significantly. Now, I never had any issues with broken flight controls like some of the others in the V1, but I don't suspect this is gonna happen on the V2 right here. So overall, what do I think about the Air65 V2? I do think that this is a very special drone. Now, I began this video saying that this is my favorite TinyWhoop to date. It flies very well. This seems more like a beefed up version of the V1 with these props and this higher kV motor, these stiffer, durable ducts that produces even more thrust, and this battery that actually gives me more power and flies for a longer flight time. So overall, I think they have a perfect recipe on here. If you're just slightly interested in TinyWhoops, I know it's not whoop season, this can fly outdoors as well. If you haven't tested one of these, I highly recommend you pick it up. It's one of my favorite drones, guys, and it's actually better than the V1, believe it or not. Now, if you're interested in this drone here, I'll leave links down below where you can find this. They are affiliated. It's no cost to you, and it does help the channel, so we do appreciate that. Now, if you want more information on this, I'll leave links down below, especially the V1 here to see my impressions on this one. I'll have that link right here so you can take a look at it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.